Normally, you would see the Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series kick off their season at the famed Daytona International Speedway. Today, it's something different. You will see the League of the American Sim Racing Series and its series, the Sim Marketing Solutions Cup Series, hit up the Bad Fast Atlanta Motor Speedway for the Sam Maxwell Customs Atlanta 200, and you will get to see it live here on 3Y TV. Hello, everybody. I'm Tanner Sharp, and alongside me is Peter Short. Back in the production truck doing all the button pushing for the cameras is Mr. Carlos Acosta. Peter, welcome to Atlanta. This track is like eating beef jerky. The reason why I say that is because this track eats up the tires, and well, of course, I love beef jerky, and you just eat it right up. How well do you know Atlanta, and what's it about?
Yeah, I mean, who doesn't like eating beef jerky, right?
Right.
Yeah, I mean, Atlanta Motor Speedway, it's hot. You saw the track temperature. It's over 110 degrees. This track surface is really old. It eats tires like none other. You're going to see these drivers slip sliding all over this track, especially with that high track temperature. And it makes for a really interesting race. I mean, Atlanta Motor Speedway, you have a lot of wheel in the car. You're going really fast. They call it Hot Atlanta for a reason. Going off into these corners at almost 200 miles an hour. And it really, with all that friction in the tires, it eats those tires. And so I expect to see a lot of fall off tonight with these cars. It's going to make for a really great race. These cars tend to get loose here up off the corner, especially out of turn number 4. So that is a spot that we're going to be watching all night long.
If you were driving today in the SMS Cup Series here for the ASRS League, I mean, it's a different setting. Usually you would start off at Daytona to where really anybody can win it. Today, that's not the case. It's Atlanta. How confident are you, and how well do you really want to finish to kick off the season?
Well, it's a great way to start the season. If you're someone here, you take the Daytona, which is a huge question mark in the season. At Daytona, you never really know who's going to win because there are those restrictor plates. And coming to a track like Atlanta, you can come in, be confident, and get a good finish. The question mark is out of the picture here. You will see the best come to the front tonight. And if you're looking to make a mark early on in the championship, you're excited about Atlanta being the first race of the season. I know there are definitely drivers in this field who were hoping the first race of the season was at Daytona, but coming to Atlanta, a track where really it's about driver skill, managing your tires. If you're someone who is looking to make your stamp on this season, Atlanta is a great place to start your year.
Let's talk about the drivers who's already making noise even before the first green flag of the season drops for ASRS series. Will Wolschler on top of the board right now in qualifying trim. He was fastest in practice trim, so we know he's going to be a fast guy here tonight. It's just going to have to be a mistake-free race and managing your tires. He's the only driver in the session that has scored a 29.9 on his qualifying time. Everybody else is either 30 flat. I'm seeing some relatively good qualifying times. Some drivers have actually improved on it. Drivers such as Ty Hester. I'm seeing Jim Foose is another one. Big gain for Jim Foose so far. Top 10 qualifier right now in 10th place. One driver I was looking at during practice was Brian Yazek. I don't think he has taken a qualifying time just yet, but he was up there in, what was he in speed charts? 5th fastest. So far he's up there taking his qualifying time. Usually you want to try to master your time on the very first lap because the tires wear out so bad here after just one lap. So we're going to keep an eye on tire management as this race goes on. And yes, that track temperature is going to be a doozy. Coming off the turns such as turn 2 can be really hectic because the car can get really snap loose on you. I mean, you're handling what, a 3,400 pound race car with so much RPMs here. It's like 9,000 RPMs in these cars here at Atlanta.
Yeah, definitely. And, like you said, because the track is so old, the track surface is so old, you really got to make good use of your first lap. And Dan Deffler did that. He wasn't super fast in practice, but Dan went out there and a 30.01 here in qualifying. Of course, we still have over 4.5 minutes left. So some of those drivers who have not yet turned time have plenty of time to go in, but Dan Deffler really picking up. And Jordan Pauly with a great lap, almost breaking into that 29-second bracket. But Will Worschler, still the only man to do so. Definitely looking fast as he was earlier in the open driver qualifying session, which is great to see. We have so many drivers in this league that we actually have an open driver qualifying session prior to this qualifying session. So I think that's great here to see that the ASRS, which has been around for over 20 years, with all this history, is getting a great crowd here tonight.
Holy smokes. 31 drivers have taken the qualification time currently right now. There's still plenty more drivers to even try to take qualifying time or start at the back of the pack to play it safe. But I don't know how well you really want to play it safe here at Atlanta, since track position is just going to be so huge as the run goes on. Dan Deffler is going to be another guy to keep an eye on too. He's picked up 3/10 since his practice time in practice trim. But I want to circle this guy, number 28, Troy Haight. He is bad fast. I recognize him on the iRacing software. He's bad fast practically anywhere where he goes, so keep an eye on him tonight. We'll see a couple drivers that could challenge Will for that top spot. We got about less than 4 minutes here, about 3.5 minutes until qualification comes to the conclusion here, and then we will start the gridding. Any drivers you were paying attention in practice?
Well, I was really keeping an eye on Will Wursler because he was bad fast. Definitely keeping an eye on him, but also keeping an eye on Jim Foose. He has just an unsurmountable amount of wins in this series. Of course, he is the league owner. He's been running it since its inception, but he has over 100 wins in ASRS, which is just crazy. It's mind-boggling to think that someone has over 100 league wins, and that's awesome to see. Just, keeping being a part of this league for that long. I've been a part of so many different sim racing leagues, and when you see a league survive for that long, it says a lot about the leadership of the group, but also means they don't take any nonsense, because a lot of leagues end up having issues with certain nonsense going on, but Jim Foose, he's righted this ship, kept this ship afloat for 20 plus years. It's absolutely awesome to see. So I've been keeping an eye on him as well.
Another reason why I want to throw that this league's existed for so long is the word passion. I mean, so much passion, dedication has gone into it by Jim and probably other drivers as well. I mean, if you don't have the passion, then it doesn't survive very long. But these guys certainly have the passion every single season, no matter what they're driving out there, whether it's on iRacing or back in the NR 2003 days. So passion is the way to go these days if you want to keep something afloat.
Yeah, I've been in sim racing now for well over 10 years, probably going on 15 years now. And it was great looking back at some of the names of some of the winners in this league. And they're names that I recognize from when I first started running NR 2003 back in the day. So ASRS, they've been around forever, and I'm really expecting a great race here tonight in the Sim Marketing Solutions Cup Series.
Since we have a couple minutes here to spare just before qualification ends here, let's talk a little bit about the details of the race here for the Cup Series. From what I'm reading here, the information that I was sent, 100% fuel load here tonight for these drivers. I do have an incident limit. It is 13x, which means if you make contact with the wall, depending upon how hard you hit it, usually it's a ×2 with a wall. Contact with another driver can lead to a ×4 incident. So once you reach that incident limit, you are kicked out of the race. So that's pretty tough. I mean, it keeps everybody clean, racing here on the track. They use realistic weather, as we just touched up on earlier. And another thing is, on the starts of the race, you have to go on the green flag. The restarts, you can go anytime you wish, but it's just the start of the race where you have to go on iRacing's green flag discretion.
Yeah, and definitely those incident points, they can add up. Here at Atlanta, they can add up pretty easily, because it's really easy to clip the wall coming out of turn number 4, because you have a lot of wheel in the car. The car might get loose. You might even go up into the grass down the front stretch. So if you go in the grass, it's 1 incident point. You do that 13 times, you're obviously going to get disqualified. So it's definitely something that we're going to have to be mindful of tonight. And you also have to watch out for wheel spin. It's very easy to get wheel spin on restarts here at Atlanta Motor Speedway, because the track is so old and it has a lack of grip. So, I've seen big wrecks here on restarts and even on the race start, because there's just there's not a lot of grip.
And of course, when you're going up and down pit road, do not beat yourself up on pit road. 3 boxes in and 3 boxes out. That's the rule. And also, don't overshoot your pit box, entering your pit box, especially on them old tires, because you might slide right through. All right, qualifying has concluded, and we are starting to grid up for the first event here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. And we got Will Wursler on top of the polls charts. 29.909 is the fastest, the only driver to hit a 29 in this session here tonight. Dan Deffler is going to qualify in second. Jordan Polly in third place. Troy Haight is going to qualify in 4th. 5th place, Kaz Bedford. Clarence Bonner is going to start in 6th. Brian Yazik in 7th place. Alex Geese, I apologize if I have some of the names incorrect here tonight. I'm working on it. He'll roll off in 8th place. Danny Rogers in 9th, and rounding out the top 10, Tyler Sawville there, Peter.
And starting in P number 11 is Tyler Hester, and to his outside is Chris Forster. And in row number 7, Jared Maugard and Jim Foose, your league owner. And they're followed in row number 8 by Corey Silva and Michael And then following them in row number 9, Alexander Pelican and Josh Walker in that number 58 machine. Rolling off in row number 10, rounding out your top 20, Alan Young and Jared Haggerty.
Richard Stallings in blackjack position, 21st. Jonathan Holstein's going to start off 22nd. Mitch Brown in 23rd. Sam Maxwell, 24th. Steve Bahula in 25th. Jamie Vaughn is going to start in the 26th position. Andy Veltman, 27th. Sean Vaughn, 28th. Wonder if there's a relation between the Vaughns there. Chris Titus is going to start 29th. And Tim Knott rounding off the top 30 there, Peter.
Starting in 31st is Christopher Lane. Following him in 32nd is Brad Cross. 33rd is taken by Evan Black. 34th, Kelsey Rogers. That row did not take time. Also following them in 35th is Nick Coffman and Jason Stewart in the 36th position. In 37th, Nick Curling. 38th, Pete Baskins. In 39th, we have Lee Staples. And 40th, Richard Fletcher. And rounding out the field in 41st is Edward Bray. A couple of those guys near the back didn't take a time. We'll have to see how that all pans out. I'm sure that's a strategy call to start near the back. Tanner, you know, starting at the back can actually work to your advantage in some certain scenarios. If there's a big wreck in front of you, you might have some time to avoid. But, you know, in a race like this, you hurt yourself with some poor track position starting early.
You definitely do, especially when the leaders are going to be out there with that clean air. Just try to outrun your lap time. They're just gaining on you each lap. So hopefully they can make some track position as this race goes on. The field is coming through turns 3 and 4. We're coming to the start of the race. Have to go on the green flag here. Will Worsler is going to lead him to the green for the very first race of the Sim Marketing Solutions Cup Series, the Sam Maxwell Customs Atlanta 200. Pace cars in, and we are getting ready to go green. We're racing at Atlanta.
Yeah, green flag is out. Great start by Will Worsler. He gets out to a pretty sizable lead. Jordan Pauly also getting a good start. He's going to go from 3rd all the way up to 2nd, but kind of wondering what happened there with the start. Not sure if the whole field was ready to go, but Worsler's gotten up to a great lead over Pauly. Cleared everyone, but there's some great racing side by side a little bit further back in the pack. The battle is for the 4th position with Troy Haight and Kaz Bedford.
Oh, yeah, look at that high line utilizing that higher line up there. That would be car number 99, Clarence Bonner, picking up a couple positions, utilizing the high side through turns 3 and 4. Might be picking up some more on Troy Haight in the 28. There's some heavy-duty racing mid-pack, actually right inside the top 10 there. Yazik's underneath the number, trying to see, hit my camera angle, Kaz Bedford here. Yazik's picking up a couple positions early. We still got some heavy-duty racing. That number 02, Danny Rogers, the 77 right there. Alex Geese on the bottom loses a position to Rogers.
Yeah, it's the top 10 now. Getting single file. It is interesting to note that high line does seem to be strong early on in this race. We'll have to see how that changes throughout the evening as the track does cool down. And you saw just a few laps ago, we actually had a cloud go over the track. It's one of the new additions to the iRacing service with some variable track conditions. But you see Kaz Bedford still running that high line in that number 90 machine. Right to his inside, though, is Alex Geese in that Trek number 77. Those two battling it out side by side for a battle just inside the top 10.
Man, do you have to change up your line after the first couple laps or something? Because I'm seeing a bunch of guys changing up their line here and there, trying to see where the grip is at the moment, especially through turns 1 and 2.
Yeah, definitely Atlanta is one of those tracks. Not only is because the track surface is so old, you have to kind of search for that grip, but it also allows you to save your tires a little bit if you can run that higher line because it has a larger radius. You're not having to scrub as much speed off by cranking that car down into a tighter radius. So that's definitely something. It's a little bit of contact there on the front stretch with the outside wall. I think that was Kaz Bedford. We said he's been running that high line, but I'm sure he didn't want to catch that outside wall like he did there through the quad oval. We'll have to keep an eye on, because Atlanta is one of those tracks where aerodynamics is very important to that right side of that car.
Boy, that could have been huge right there. And I'll tell you what, a great awareness right there is number 90, Kaz Bedford, backing up at the moment. Still utilizing the high side. You got the number 11 down there. That is Tyler Sawville trying to get underneath that 72 of Michael Krobach and trying to hunt down at the same time number 90 of Bedford. Look at Jim Foose right there trying to get right up to the bumper of Krobach. Foose is on that higher side. He's under attack from number 6 of Jared Haggerty.
Yeah, Haggerty made a really late move down into turn number 1, just kind of poked his nose underneath Jim, and Jim kind of left that door open maybe just a little bit too much, and Haggerty said, hey, thank you very much, I'll fill this little spot, and he's moving forward in that number 6 machine. But definitely, you know, you look up at the front now, this is going to be a battle for second. Dan Deffer has caught the back of Jordan Pauly, so this battle for second is brewing.
It's starting to brew up here. We got a lot of single file action practically from Yazik on back. Yazik's actually leading that train around.
Yeah, it seems like we have a little bit of a gap between first and second, third and fourth and fifth, but then from fifth on back, it is an absolute race between everyone. They're all fighting really close. You see Yazik there in that machine, running that bottom line. So seems like these drivers are now favoring the bottom line. Maybe they didn't find as much grip on the high side as they were hoping to do so, but definitely in 3 and 4, kind of a late apex that will shallow your exit out of turn number 4. You'll see some of the drivers do that. It's up side by side, maybe some contact back there a little bit further back in the pack.
Josh Walker and Mitch Brown going at it back there. That's behind Jim Foose. That's battle for 18th and 19th.
Yeah, those two drivers definitely fighting for some real estate on the track. It's kind of easy to do at Atlanta just due to the lack of grip here.
Corey Silva, number 94 in 8th place, just got around Alex Geese for position. Silva is coming from 15th, move him up to 8th place.
Yeah, in fact, he has moved up 6 positions since the start, and Evan Black, who's the highest, assuming your biggest mover currently, plus 8, he's gone from 33rd up to 25th. So definitely keep an eye out on those two guys as they move their way.
You got Yazik here. He's under attack from the number 90. Actually, he's not under attack. He's going for a position on the 99 of Clarence Bonner.
Yeah,
followed by Danny Rogers.
Yeah, those two drivers side by side here going through the quad oval. You see that number 99 maybe getting a little bit upset. It's not as easy getting through the quad oval here as it is at some of the other tracks that are owned by Mr. Wheeler. But definitely getting a little bit loose there through the quad oval. Maybe had to back out of it a little bit, and that did hurt his entry. That's Bonner still running that high side, but now he's got Moggered to his inside and definitely losing some positions as Silva now gets underneath him in the 94, move him up yet another position. So Silva now plus 7 since the start, and we're just a few laps into this.
Man, is it more treacherous getting into the corner or getting off the corner? It just seems like a little bit of both, because some drivers, when they're getting into the corner, they're pushing up the hill just a little bit, but when they're finally getting into the throttle, they're getting a little loose on corner exit. What's that like there, Peter?
Yeah, definitely. Sometimes you can, get into the corner and all of a sudden the nose starts to come out from underneath you, and you have to check up, or else you're going to hit the car to your outside. And that happens usually when you're side by side underneath someone, but then there are instances really when you're just by yourself, where you have a lot of wheel in the car, and then getting off the corner, your back end just starts to come out. It's a push loose scenario, and that tends to happen a lot here at Atlanta, more so than a lot of the other tracks here on the iRacing service. But we haven't seen that yet. We're only about 13 laps into this race, so those tires will be going through a heat cycle, I'm sure. As I'm looking at the lap times now, the lap times have fallen off just about a second from the best laps turned so far. So, if you're already dropping a second, your tires are wearing quite a bit. So those, whether the car is tight or whether it's loose, It starts to get a little bit worse. As you see the battle for third now on the left-hand side of your screen, you move Yakzik all the way up into the third position, and Danny Rogers made a great move as Dan Deffler starting to slide back. Maybe he's over-abused those tires early on in this race.
Yeah, Yakzik, usually he's pretty fast no matter what that boy is driving, man. He's moving himself up to the third position after starting in seventh. He's got a little bit of clean air to work with to try to catch Jordan Polly. So move Yakzik to third, Rogers in fourth, and you got Jared Mogard in fifth after starting 13th. There is some quite heavy-duty battling back here I am kind of seeing. At times, Foose was just under attack, I think, from the number 17 of Richard Stallings there. A little further ahead of that pack, you got 99, Clarence Bonner. All, you know, he's just all over the place just a little bit from that 36 car of Ty Hester. Hester's actually moving up pretty. He fell back at first, but he's moving back up.
Yeah, he started in the 11th position, now running in 10th, and you see him side by side with Bonner and now Crowbook to his outside. One thing I want to note is I'm looking at the average lap times by these guys, and Will Warshler up front, he's running the fastest laps of anyone out there, but his average lap time also looks like fastest in the field. Yakzik, the second fastest in the field, he's a little bit faster than Polly, probably about a half-tenth faster, so not much gaining so far, but Atlanta is one of those tracks that teaches you patience. So we have a caution out on the racetrack. We'll have to see what happens. Oh, the number 43 is around
43.
In the back.
That's Steve Bahula.
Oh, got a little bit of contact on entry to the corner, shot him down into the inside. And that would be Andy Veltman in the Corona Extra car that he made contact, and then he slid back down the racetrack.
Boy, Peter, that looked like a very minor contact to the outside wall, but it was just enough to shoot him and get him sideways just before he got made contact with the number 97 Corona Extra machine of Andy Veltman.
Yeah, and also Jamie Vaughn got a piece of that. He's got some right front damage in that number 12 Pizza Hut Chevy. So definitely, brought out the first caution. Just a little saying, those tires were screaming, and I'm sure all these drivers will come down, take 4 fresh tires. Atlanta is one of those tracks where you don't really want to try 2 tires all too often. So we'll most likely be seeing 4 tires as your race leader, Warshler, brings them down.
I'd say don't beat yourself on pit road.
Yeah, definitely don't want to beat yourself on pit road. It's really easy to slide through your pit stall as you see everyone dive down into their box. A couple of people getting sideways on entry, trying to hit their marks. Warshler hits his marks very well there. You see the right side pop up as they go to work on that number 29.
Yeah, that 29 machine left sides are going up as well, man. 4 tires are being placed on that number 29 Chevrolet ZL1 Camaro as he's the winner off of pit road. Second place, you're going to have Jordan Polly. Third place, Danny Rogers. Fourth place, Brian Yakzik. Corey Silva in fifth. Sixth place, Dan Deffler. Seventh, Jared Mogard. Michael Crowax in eighth. Ninth, Clarence Bonner. And running out that top 10 on exit the pit road is Alex Geese.
Yeah, so this kind of resets the field. We saw a couple people get away early. It'll be interesting to see how, now that the field has kind of stratified a little, to see how this restart will go. But definitely looked like the 29 Will Warshler was on a rail early.
Oh yeah, he was. I mean, you can't hit that pedal until iRacing issues a green flag. And if he got that big jump when iRacing hit the green flag, man, just imagine what he's going to do on these restarts, because this is going to be his control now.
Yeah, and one thing we did note is Atlanta is one of those tracks where you get a lot of wheel spin when you have a restart. So I'm wondering if maybe the rest of the field was a little bit cautious there, possibly, but definitely if they were cautious, I don't think they'll be as cautious this time, because Will got out with a great jump that last time, as did Jordan Polly. So those two will be your front row again, and they'll definitely be looking forward for this start.
All right, couple updates here. Steve Bahula remaining on pit road. He has much damage fixed as possible. Andy Veltman was one of those drivers that had damage from that incident. He is currently in 30th right now. out on the racetrack. Still has some very severe right front damage. It looks pretty severe to me. Don't know how that car is how well that's gonna handle, but we'll keep an eye on their statuses as this race goes on.
Yeah, right.
Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say right behind him is Jamie Vaughn. You see him right in the middle of your screen there, that Pizza Hut Chevrolet. He's also got some right front damage from that, so I'm sure he tried to get as much of it fixed as possible. Don't see it much from that view, but you definitely got some right front damage. And, aero is so important at a track like this. It will usually make that car a little bit tight when you got some right front damage, which at a track like Atlanta with some push loose, can make the car actually loose up off the corner. So kind of unintuitive, but that number 12 machine does have that right front damage. And see, a couple people headed down pit road. Chris Lane headed down pit road in the 26th pit. Wonder maybe we're thinking some fuel strategy at this point?
It could. That was what, a good 19 lap green flag run, and really everybody was racing each other pretty clean out there, so they might be expecting another caution at some point and might try to gain some track position. But I'm thinking tires more than fuel here, especially with 100% fuel load. That's just my mindset on it if I was out there as a driver. But we do have the one-go signal right now. We're headed down towards the back straightaway, so we're going to get the green this upcoming time by. So let's reset the field for you here. Will Worsler has led every single lap since dropping the green flag. He's the leader. Jordan Polly is going to be in second place. Danny Rogers in third. Ryan Yazik in fourth. Corey Silva is going to remain in fifth. Jared Mogart is going to be in sixth. Dan Deffler in seventh. Michael Krobach in eighth. Clarence Bonner in ninth, and Alex Keese rounding out the top 10. And outside looking in, Ty Hester and Troy Haight, 11th and 12th. Troy Haight started fourth. He's backed up into that 12th spot, so let's see what he can do on this restart.
Pace car diving down, green flag back in the air here. Great restart once again for Will Worsler. Of course, for restarts, he had control, but right behind him, they're side by side from second on back. Great racing through the field. Here comes to the inside Danny Rogers in that number 02 machine. He's looking forward.
Ooh,
and here comes
contact back there. Ty Hester may have made contact with the outside wall, or somebody did.
There you see that Hunt Brothers pizza machine looking a little bit forward, but I don't see any damage.
We have an update. Will Worsler black flagged.
Oh, man, that's going to be absolutely killer for your race leader. He's led every lap here tonight, bar one, and now he has a black flag. I'm sure he's getting on the radio trying to figure out what that black flag is for. We'll have to see if he serves it this time. He's got 3 laps to do so before he stops. Here he comes down onto the apron, that number 29 machine here to serve his black flag.
I'm assuming it had to have been something with the restart.
Either that, I'm going to go back and watch his pit stop, see maybe if he violated the 3 in 3 out rule, but I'm not 100% sure, so it's going to take me to get back, but that gives the lead to Danny Rogers.
Yeah, while you're checking that there, Peter, Danny Rogers out front, leading for the first time today after the unfortunate events of Will Worsler. Now you got the number 91, Jordan Polly, who's been second place majority of this entire race, is still remaining in second place, under fire from the number 94 of Corey Silva, and Brian Yazik closely behind.
Yeah, I'm watching that number 29, Will Worsler, on pit road. He forgot to uncheck his tires, so he took 4 tire stop while serving that black flag, so that's just going to further hinder that number 29 machine, as he is now 1.5 laps down as the field is racing into turn number 3, and he is in the middle of turns number 1.
Boy, Jared Mogard, man, he went underneath the number 94 of Corey Silva, and he's going to take that position away just like that. So Silva backing up a position there. Yazik wants a piece of this action, so he's going to try to get underneath that number 94 machine. And that HPP Simulations Ford, right behind him is his teammate for Loud Pedal Motorsports, Michael Krobach. Krobach's coming up through the field after starting 16th.
Yeah, Danny Rogers now trying to set sail. He's got clean air on the nose, and we've been harping on the fact that Atlanta's a downforce circuit, and being at a track like this, clean air matters a ton. And he's setting sail. He's turning the fastest laps on the track. Jordan Polly just behind him, running a 30.5 flat that last time by Danny, running a 30.378 up near the front, so about a 10th and a half for that number 02 Chevrolet that time by.
Yeah, that '02 car. I bet that thing's handling a lot better now because he was top 10 fastest, and he qualified. Where did he qualify? He qualified 9th, and I bet that car is handling pretty right now with that clean air.
Yeah, definitely. Clean air is one thing that can definitely help you. You know, if you're a little bit further back in the pack,
Ooh.
and you can get some track position, as we're almost 3 wide in turn
Yep.
number 1. Alexander Pelican in the
Jared
sun drop
Haggerty.
machine.
Jared Haggerty in a 6 car. Yeah, that sun drop machine. Alex Pelican right there. These guys are racing pretty aggressively here in the early stage of this race.
Contact. That was the 99. Clarence Bonner clipped the wall coming out of turn number 4 in that 99, and that's going to give him some right side damage.
Oh, Clarence is in trouble.
Yeah, opened the door for Tyler Sawville in that number 11 FedEx machine. Here you go, watch this replay. That 99 just ran out of room, clipped that wall pretty hard. It's a pretty good lick on that right side.
And when you hit the wall here at Atlanta, it's unforgiving, that's for sure. And we have seen that. That's what brought the first caution, realistically.
Yeah, definitely. And of course, you know, Steve Buhala, he is still on pit road. He's now 12 laps down. I'm not quite sure if that number 43 machine will return.
He's brought to the garage.
So, tough break for him. I know that's not the way you want to start a season. Especially a season like this, you know, you got 16 rounds and you have a Dash for Cash playoff system. So that's going to be a tough break for him in that number 43 as you're still watching some great action throughout this field.
Boy, Silva's going after Mogard once again here. He's caught Mogard here, and Mogard passed him earlier, just trying to get off that corner of the racetrack, and looks like that 00 machine of Jared gets that run off the high line. And you got some Loud Pedal Motorsport drivers coming up on Silva's back end.
Yeah, definitely. There you have the number 72 of Michael Crowbook. And as we have a caution on the... It looks like, yeah, the 12 of Jamie Vaughn. That Pizza Hut machine's gone around. You can see that's kind of looking like a modified... It looks like he spun it maybe coming out of turn number. A little bit of a replay issue there, but let's watch him as he's in turns 1 and 2 here. And I won't be at all surprised if that back end just steps away from him just a little bit. No, ooh, maybe a little bit of hard hit for that number 12 machine. Took off the whole nose. I'm surprised that Chevrolet is still running.
Man, on board. Yeah, look at this onboard right here. Let's see if that slightest contact.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Looks like Chris Titus, the 25, had to check up just a little bit, and it just wasn't able to slow up in time in that number 12 machine. So tough break for Jamie Vaughn and Vaughn Motorsports. Hopefully he can come down, get as much damage repaired as possible, because he's still on the lead lap here as we run through lap number 33. I expect to see everyone down pit road once again.
Yeah, same here. The slightest contact, just, I mean, these cars just don't like it, and that's what's bringing out the second caution here today at Atlanta Motor Speedway. You got Danny Rogers, who's going to lead the field down into pit road. I don't want to see anybody staying out because they're going to be heavy wheel spin. The lucky dog recipient, I believe, should be Jason Stewart in the number 1 machine in the back of the pack. That means Will Worsler will not be able to get that lucky dog. He's going to remain a lap down. I'd still come down and get 4 fresh tires if I was Will.
Yeah, definitely. I would as well. I mean, you're in the lucky dog spot. There's still 90-something laps to go. Come down, get fresh tires. You don't want to end up a lap down just on pace and there being a long green flag run. It'd be better to have fresh tires. As you see the race off.
Boy, the race off pit road, yeah. Man, who was that? That was Tim Knott. Jordan Polly beats Danny Rogers. So Tim Knott, Jordan Polly, Danny Rogers, Jared Mogard, and Alan Young. So, Tim Knott missed the stall. Okay.
Yeah, Tim Knott not being able to make his pit. Yeah, that one's bad. But definitely kind of have a different face up at the front now. Jordan Polly, the first car on 4 fresh tires. We'll have to see if Knott comes back down pit road. I expect him to. I wouldn't expect him to stay out on those older tires. I think he would just get swallowed up on the restart. And here he takes the left turn to make his way down. As expected, Sean Vaughn also joining him. Vaughn in that number 22 machine, he is 1 lap down, and he will be the second car 1 lap down. We're behind Will Warshler, so I'm sure those two will be duking it out for the lucky dog.
So with that being said, this is going to surrender the lead to Jordan Polly, the third lead change of today's race. Here at Atlanta, we only had 3 different leaders for 3 different lead changes. Will Warshler, Danny Rogers, and Jordan Polly, all drivers who started in the top 3 here today.
You know, we were saying that Will should head down pit road, but he thinks different than the commentators. He's staying out on track probably to try and get the wave around. So he'll get his lap back through the wave around procedure. He's really hoping that another caution comes out pretty quickly, because we've seen about a second fall off after about 10 laps. So he does have about 5 to 6 laps of green flag running on his tires. So, you know, if he's already about 6/10 off the pace of the front runners, he'll definitely be hoping for a yellow pretty soon.
There was a restart violation. Is that what I'm hearing for the reason of Will Warshler?
Yeah, yes, that is the reason. That is the reason why Will was penalized. And, you know, it being the first race of the season, there happens to be those growing pains. These drivers get introduced to this league. And, I mean, I've succumbed to this myself. You join a league, you don't exactly 100% know the rules. There is a lot of rules that these drivers are having to abide by, and you just forget one, and it catches you out. So, definitely, I don't expect to see Will Warshler have a lane change violation again. He's learned his lesson, I'm sure, but he'll get the wave around, and that will bring the 91 of Jordan Polly to the front.
Got to shake off the mistakes right now if you're Will Warshler and just get back in this thing. There's still plenty of time to get back into it. You're fast. Try to get back up towards the front. All right, so let's reset the field for you here since we have the 1-to-go signal. Jordan Polly is going to be your current race leader after starting 3rd here today. Danny Rogers is going to start in 2nd. Jared Mogard is going to start in 3rd on his restart. Brian Yazik in 4th. Running off the top 5, Corey Silva. Ty Hester in 6th. Michael Krobach in 7th. Troy Haight in 8th. 9th, Alexander Pelican, and running off the top 10, Jared Haggerty.
Yeah, and looking at your top 10, you have some pretty big movers up there. I mean, Michael Krobach, he's gone up 9 position, Corey Silva up 10, Jared Muggard up 10 as well, and Danny Rogers up 7 positions. So definitely starting to see some comers and goers in this race, and we are just over 34 laps in. Pace car pulls down as we put the hands back in Jordan Polly here, and that number 91 green flag back in the air here to Atlanta Motor Speedway. Jordan gets off to a great start. Doesn't look like he has a lane change violation this time, so I think he's going to be good. And there comes the number 00 of Jared Mogard. He's going to move up into the 2nd position, trying to bring the number 55 of Brian Yazik with him.
Man, Yazik was all over that back bumper of Jared Mogard. Yazik's taking a different line on entrance here, probably a good thing. You don't want to continuously take the high line. Look at that high line go. Utilizing the high line, using a little bit of side draft to that right rear quarter panel to pull that 00 back to get side by side with him.
Yeah, you're looking off the back of Jordan Polly and that number 91 at that side-by-side battle for 2nd. Definitely showing that high line is capable is Brian Yazik. He's got a great run down the backstretch. He's going to clear Jared Muggard. That high line definitely showing that it can compete with that low line here on the restart. We'll have to see if maybe the track is changing a little bit. You know, with having this many cars on the track at one time, it really tends to heat up the track. Whatever line is the more popular line, which can reduce the amount of grip. So you'll definitely see that 55 closing in on the back now of Jordan Polly. Brian Yazik is looking for this race lead.
He wants it, and he wants to be the 4th different leader of today's race. So far, cannot make anything happen with Polly right now. Polly still holds on to the race lead. About a lap ago, that sun drop machine of Alexander Pelican just was almost opened up into the outside wall, but so far he is okay. I'm still watching Yazik though, man. He is hunting for that race lead. He can just taste it. Look at Danny Rogers underneath the 00 of Jared Mogard.
Yeah, and right behind them is Ty Hester and Corey Silva. That's a side-by-side battle for the top 5. That number 36 machine, I've been really impressed with Ty Hester. He's kept a really clean race, and he's kept moving forward in that number 36 machine.
Oh.
He just keeps running.
Oh, man, almost contact between Rogers and Mongard there. That could have been big if there was contact. Still clean side-by-side racing. Mongard got a huge run off turn 4. Now he's hunting for more for second place on Yazik. I think Yazik's going to have the preferred line coming off turn number 2, and yes, he will. Krobach and Hester are going at it.
Yeah, Danny Rogers almost got the outside wall there. I think he was able to stay off of it, but it looked like the car might have gotten a little bit arrow tight up off the corner as he was tucked up underneath Jared Mongard. But Mongard got such a fantastic run that last lap. I was really expecting to get by Yazik, but it wasn't quite able to pull it off. As this is what Jordan Pauly wants to see out of his rear view mirror, is this side-by-side battle right behind him as he's using that clean air to his advantage, saving those tires possibly a little bit and just letting them battle behind.
Boy, these cats are all over each other because the top 9 cars are 1 second from each other. The top 8 is 8/10 from each other. It's probably going to change this upcoming time by as they pass the start-finish line.
You see a side-by-side battle for 7th now. Ty Hester on the inside and Jared Haggerty trying to use that high line to his advantage. He's seen some of the drivers in front of him start to use it, so those two battling it out here at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. It's hot on the track, and it is hot Atlanta. We have a battle brewing now for the third position. Jared Mongard to the outside, and on his inside is Danny Rogers. Rogers didn't have the greatest of restarts, and now he's trying to make up for that.
Yeah, I mean, they don't call it hot Atlanta for nothing because these guys are all over each other, and they're thinking, man, they're probably hot inside them cars for sure. Look at Rogers all over that back bumper of the 00 machine. Rogers is still trying to find a way around him, cannot do it. As long as that 00 of Mongard is holding up that middle line through the corner exit, I mean, he's going to get that launch off that corner there.
I just saw something that I have not seen tonight. Corey Silva just took his number 94 machine to the outside of Danny Rogers, and Silva ran a higher line than I've seen anyone run tonight. He got an amazing run coming out of turn number 2. So then you'll see him again. He's running that high groove, just lets that car roll a little bit in through the corner, slams the gas, and watch this run he gets down the back stretch as he might just clear Danny Rogers here as they go off into turn number 3, but definitely some drivers trying those different lines here as we're half an hour into this race. The track is hot. The rubber that's been laid down on the lower line might be shifting some of these guys a little bit higher on the track.
Just a little bit there, Peter, because, man, I tell you what, that Silva wants that Harry Ganton groove right next to the outside wall without scraping it. I mean, he wants to put an Atlanta stripe on that wall.
Yeah, and
almost contact back there between Ty Hester and Troy Haight. I think Hester kind of pushed up on corner exit almost to the outside wall. So far, no harm, no foul.
Yeah, those two drivers keeping things clean as we're about single file back to this battle. You see just a little bit further back, that is a battle just inside the top 10. Alexander Pelican in the 10th position. Looking underneath him is Mitch Brown in that Sim Marketing Solutions Toyota. Looking for that top 10. You know, that top 10, it's a nice round number. That's kind of where you want to be if you want to end up a contender at the end of the season, is knock off those top 10s, knock off those top 5s. So he's definitely looking for that spot. As you know, looking up us a little bit further ahead, we're single file, but I'll tell you what, these drivers are all single, well, they're not anymore. They're not single file anymore. As you see,
Silva.
Yeah, Silva diving to the inside. He's moving his way up through this field. Started in the 15th position, now looking for third as he gets a little bit loose getting off the corner.
Krobach in the 72 HPP Simulation Ford, or excuse me, he's in a Camaro this week. That's a little odd that the Ford and Camaro are teammates, but nonetheless.
Yeah, he's definitely looking forward in that number 72 machine after losing a little bit of ground. But I was just going to say, all these guys up near the front, you know, they're all really close to one another, as Corey Silva now still trying to use, oh no, Corey Silva clipped the wall coming out of the corner. Look,
Hester.
That was Ty Hester getting really loose back there in the number 36. Definitely looks like it's heating up here at Atlanta. Not literally, but figuratively. But definitely these guys getting really loose out of the corner. I just watched the Office episode a few days ago about literally versus figuratively, so I do know what those mean.
Geez, Peter. I mean, just think. I mean, look how excited you got. Just think how excited Ty Hester got. Krolbach he's digging it, man.
Yeah, we'll have to see if we can get an onboard ride with this number 72 machine because, you know, definitely he is digging. Here we go, on board. Here he is at the stripe. We'll have to watch those hands as he goes through this corner. Definitely just kind of easing the wheel in, letting those RPMs drop just a little bit, and then picking up throttle. Already down to 150 miles an hour in the corner, which tells you that these tires are wearing quite a bit. Look at that, almost up to 200 down the back stretch. These Cup cars are really fat.
You want to know what's this like here, folks? We're holding that wheel left and right like that. It's like dancing with a chainsaw.
Yeah, definitely at Atlanta, it is like dancing with a chainsaw. Because,
just saying.
Yeah, it gets worse and worse as the run goes on, and the hotter the track is, and I'm just going to take a peek at our track temperature. It's 107 degrees Fahrenheit, so it's cooled off just a little bit as we're now at 5:09 in the sim time. So as the sun continues to set and goes down, I'm sure the track will cool off a little bit, which might give these drivers a bit more grip. As you see this side-by-side battle, Ty Hester, he and Alexander Pelican trying to work his way forward. He's now 9th place at the line as he's just a nose ahead of Ty Hester. But that Sundrop Camry looking sporty at this point.
Yeah, I tell you what, another thing that was heating up and brewing up was Yazik hunting for that race lead. He's only knocked it down to about 0.2 of a second on Jordan Pauly, who's in the 91 machine leading the race at the moment. Just kind of clicking off lap times because those lap times are going to tell the difference on what he's going to be doing.
Yeah, I'm looking at the average lap time for your front runners, and their average lap times are all pretty close with one another. So definitely not really gaining anything major at this point. But you know, at this point in the run, you're really thinking about tire management. You're thinking potentially about fuel.
Hester, man, almost got sideways off of turn number 2. He was just under attack from Mitch Brown. Mitch Brown, one of the biggest movers of the race at the moment, started 23rd up to 11th. Another driver in the back of the pack is Evan Black, 33rd to 14th.
Yeah, I think he was one of those drivers who did not take time, but he's worked his way into the 14th, and right in front of him is Tyler Sauvel, and I'm sure that he is looking to move forward, you know, really being patient, picking up places where he can get them. But I know he's looking forward towards the top 10 position as he now goes to the outside of Alex Keys in that number 77 machine, trying to use that high line. Here he goes through the corner, gets a great run mid-corner there, using that number 92 tires to their fullest to get a great run. I don't think he can pull off the pass quite yet, but I'm sure he'll be working. It's almost looking 3 wide. Look at him using that really high groove, trying to find that grip. Gets a great run off the corner, and that number 92 give him another spot. My goodness, he's now to the inside of Sauvel, looking for yet another position. Maybe he can get the twofer here in turn number 3, but definitely seeing some good stuff out of that 92.
Oh, yeah, you know it there, Peter, because that 92, man, he had a huge launch off turn 2. He's utilizing 3 and 4. He's about to beat that 11 car on entrance here. I believe he will. That's Tyler Sauvel in the 11 car. Looks like he will, so move Evan Black up to the 12th position. And Ty Hester may have hit the wall.
Oh, man, Ty Hester, he has been having a fight with that number 36 machine. His right side looks, but he's been having a fight with that machine as it's been getting loose. Looks like the handling might have gone away on that number 36, but he still has Mitch Brown. This is still the battle for the 10th position as Chris Titus has taken his machine to the garage. But here comes Mitch. Mitch got a great run up off that corner and is able to make that pass. So Hester, he started, you know, moving forward, and he's now starting to slide back. I wonder if he might have just used up the tires just a little bit in that.
I think so. I mean, he's been slipping back. He's struggling off corner exit just a little bit, especially turn 2. He's falling back now. He was running solidly in the top 10. He's just dropped out of the top 10. He's in 11th now. So, and pretty soon that number 92 of Evan Black has come up. He just got right up to that left rear quarter panel there, just nowhere to go. Had to breathe the throttle just a little bit.
Yeah,
he's trying to get underneath him right now.
Black was able to make that pass on Tyler Sauvel and set his sights looking forward here on Ty Hester. This is the battle for the 11th position on the racetrack, and that number 92 going to take it right down to that white line. Rolls pretty well through the corner. Oh, we got a car in the grass. That is Jared Hack. So definitely some of these guys starting to get a little bit loose up off the corner. What a great save by Haggerty, able to keep that number 6 machine corralled here on replay. Look at him, just got a little bit loose, got off the throttle. Yeah, got a little bit of air in that number 6 machine, and gets things righted, but that's going to lose him quite a bit of track position and drop him back.
That did damage to his right front just a little bit. And leader pit road.
Jordan Polly down pit road. I think this might be some tire strategy, perhaps. Maybe their pit window has opened here at this point in the race, and Jordan Polly, he might be trying to play this race backwards. This is an interesting call because you and I know a yellow flag could come out at any time and
trouble back straight away. Ty Hester involved.
Oh, no Ty Hester around, no caution yet. Tyler Sauvel in the 11. We stay green here at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. Of course, Atlanta Motor Speedway is one of those older iRacing tracks. Looks like the 36 just caught the wall, and Hester went for a spin and unfortunately collected Tyler Sauvel.
That would have been unfortunate for Jordan Polly because he pitted, but Ty Hester and Tyler Sauvel make contact down the back straight coming off turn number 2. They're headed to the pit road right now.
Yeah, we have a couple of drivers on pit road, which includes Will Worsler, your pole sitter. He's down pit road, and I definitely think, you know, you're starting to see some monkey see, monkey do with some of these guys follow the leader down pit road. But for now, Brian Yazik assumes the race lead. He, of course, stays out. There is that number 55, so good to see a Ford out front. We don't have many Fords in this field tonight, but, man, I just saw Yazik problems! Yazik problems! Down the backstretch, spins to the inside, and just as we were talking about him, commentator's curse, that number 55 has damage on the front, the rear, and definitely looks like that number 55 is crabbing, just got a little bit loose up off the corner.
Let's take a look at that replay, though, of Yazik, because he got off of turn 2 strangely.
Yeah, I've seen this happen quite a few times in some of the other races I've seen here, is that the car just looks like it loses itself on the straightaway as he was trying his best to save it, not able to do so.
Yeah, that's he was already loose. He was already loose just prior getting to the back straightaway.
So if I'm some of these drivers out there, if I'm seeing this happening on the track, I'll be really reluctant to come down pit road because you've seen 2 people spin in 2 laps, and you know, you might be on the brink of a caution flag, but as we have another car in the wall in tow, car around touch, Troy Haight into car. Oh no, it's got the 91. No call. There's finally the caution. Big wreck in turns number 1 and 2, and unfortunately took out Jordan Polly. That car.
And Peter, just in a few laps, Calamity has just annihilated the track of Atlanta here. I see Krobach in the wall first. That's what set it up for this incident.
Yeah, Haggerty also getting a big piece of it in the number 6. Here we go on the reap. Krobach in that number 72 gets up into the wall, gets a little bit loose, and there is the number 28 height, and just nowhere to go really, and a lot of people collected in that.
Oh boy, who is that driver? I gotta see who that driver was. See if we can get an onboard of him. Mr. Carlos, Mitch Brown. Just squeaked by.
So you can see Jordan Polly riding on board on those fresh tires, trying to make use of it, and the track closed up very quickly for that number 91. Tough break. You know, he made that call to come down pit road a little bit early and was trying to make, you know, good use of those fresh tires, racing up through the field, wrong place.
Look at this. What a glitch, but look at Mitch Brown right here. We're on board with Mitch Brown. He's going to get by this mess. Hard impact to the 6 car who came back to the inside of the track.
Yeah, definitely a great maneuver there to avoid all that was going on. So Danny Rogers is the race leader as he hits his pit stall. You can see quite a few damaged cars now on pit road. They're all trying to get that damage fixed so they can get back out. But I gotta say, I think this race has just kind of turned on its head. We've seen some of your top contenders get involved in that accident. and Danny Rogers able to keep that number 02 clean and green, and he's going to be the first man off pit road.
Yeah, Danny Rogers doing a tremendous job on and off pit road, even on the track as well, keeping that 02 flying machine out there. Doing a very good job. You got Corey Silva, who's made up some pretty good ground, remaining in the top 5 majority of the race here today after starting 15th. Jared Mongard and Alex Pelican. Actually, there's a couple drivers getting off pit road there. You had Brad Cross. We'll have to reset the field for you here once we get back to the start-finish line. Live timing and scoring is a little bit messed up because there's some drivers that are lapped down and have made pit stops during that caution flag.
Yeah, so all those people who did come down and pit, you know, that's really going to bite them because they will be stuck along and they will have a few laps older tires. I expect them to take the wave around here, but that's definitely going to put them at a disadvantage for this restart. As, you know, here we are, we have about 64 laps to go, and this race has really taken a turn, or basically at the halfway mark. It's been an exciting race, Tanner. I'm really looking forward to this.
Yep, I'm just looking forward to the finish here because this is going to set up for an interesting finish, and we see that tires is going to mean a lot after 30 laps. Cars are starting to get really loose, hitting the outside wall. I mean, just like the last 3 laps prior to that caution coming out, it was just calamity all over the racetrack due to the ill-handling race cars on these old tires.
Yeah, having 30 laps on your tires at Atlanta is always pretty rough.
Boy,
definitely
Hester.
for all.
Whale of a run for Hester, being in the top 10 all race long majority here, and we're past the halfway point. We're actually coming up to the past the halfway point. Actually, we're past it, excuse me. But Hester had a good race going. Now that Hutt Brothers pizza machine looks like junk.
Yeah, definitely a lot of cars out there are having a problem. So a couple of modifieds out there. So we'll have to reset the field for you here. There's 63 laps to go, but that number 02, Danny Rogers, is leading. And Corey Silva, man, this guy started in the 15th position, 13 spots he's gained in this race, keeping that number 94 machine nice and clean here in the 2nd position. Jared Mogard also plus 10 spots. Evan Black, we were talking about him during that last green flag run. He started 33rd tonight, and he's gained 29 positions up to 4th. Mitch Brown, he's running in the 5th position. Alex Geese right behind him in 6th. Sam Maxwell 7th. Brad Cross 8th. Alan Young 9th. And Alexander Pelican in 10th.
Completing lap 69 out of 130 laps here in this evening's event. Danny Rogers is going to be out front. Let's see what Rogers can do here. Quite a few drivers that we have not really seen in the top 10 here tonight that have ran probably just outside the top 10 and run fairly well this evening are now within the top 5 or the top 10 area. Pace car lights are off. The pace car is coming in, and it's going to be all Danny Rogers on this restart. He's on the throttle. We're back green flag racing at Atlanta.
Yeah, great start by Danny Rogers as he gets out front. That side-by-side battle is for the 2nd position. Corey Silver kind of got caught sleeping, although, to be honest with you, starting in 2nd is the hardest place to start in the iRacing service, but he's all over the back of Jared Mogard as Corey Silva looking to make his way. Oh!
That was, I believe, Alex Geese in the 77 hitting the outside wall.
Yeah, that number 77 is going backwards. He's restarted in the 6th position, but now he's back around the 9th position as Brad Cross was able to get through that in that number 30 machine. We haven't talked about him tonight. He's working his way forward. There's the number 41 machine of Tim Knott. He's now in the 12th position, and right in front of him is Michael Krobach. So that battle just outside the top 10 of a couple drivers looking to try and get their way into the top 10 as everything up near the front has gotten single file. Tanner, are we going to see a little bit more patience out of these guys? Maybe try and save some tires here after seeing what some older tires can do to these cars?
Boy, you can. I mean, we had a long green flag run there, and there's been quite a few drivers now that have been exited the race. There's still remaining 22 drivers on the lead lap. Jared Haggerty was in that big one there. And you got the 98 car within the top 10. Sam Maxwell missing a bumper on my screen. I don't know if that's legit or not, but boy, he's running the same speeds as the race leaders here. Going about 191, 192 miles an hour at the start-finish line.
Yeah, definitely. Sam Maxwell, net 98, basically saying, who needs aerodynamics in that number 98 modifier? As you see, this side-by-side battle, that is for the 7th position with Alexander Pelican getting underneath Brad Cross.
Boy, that Sundrop machine went right underneath that 30 car there of Brad Cross. Sundrop is moving to the front here.
He dropped to the inside.
Pelican.
Yeah, it was pretty bad, but he dropped to the inside. We'll get these out of the way for the rest of the league, and we won't have these later on in the season. So just let me get these terrible puns out of the way as we're here in the first race of the American Sim Racing Series season. And some, so like you said, some new faces up near the front. We see Evan Black. I'm wondering if Evan Black is just saving his tires. He's dropped back into the 6th position, and he's now under fire from Alexander Pelican. We've seen Pelican do a good job of saving his tires and keeping that number 16 machine clean. But Black has also done a great job in the 92. You saw him on the move there late in the last green flag run as it looks like he might lose that spot.
Let's keep an eye on Black though for just a couple seconds here. He was the 2nd fastest in speed charts on practice. He did not take a qualifying time. He started 33rd and he's up to 6th. So we know for sure he has a fast hot rod. He was just laying in the weeds practically this entire race, and he's running well in the top 10.
Another person that we should keep an eye on is Will Worstler. He started on the pole, was very fast, led the first few laps of this race, got a black flag, and he's been trying to recover from that black flag. He was one of the early pitters in that last green flag cycle. He's back there in the 23rd position. There he is on track, just going into turn number 3. And he is a lap down. So he's the first car 1 lap down, though. So if we were to get another yellow, expect to see that number 29 as your lucky dog. He's got a decent gap over Josh Walker in the number 58. So that battle for the lucky dog spot is pretty handily in Will Worstler's hands as you look up near the front. Pretty much single file running up there, but my goodness, I can't believe Sam Maxwell up to 5th with that number 98 Ford modified. Absolutely crazy. As you see, he's now under fire, though, from Alexander Pelican, and Pelican's going to drop to the inside in that sun drop machine. Man, that's terrible.
Sam Maxwell is a high horsepower SK modified here on iRacing. I'm telling you, that boy is just wheeling around this racetrack without a bumper.
Yeah, who needs aerodynamics? I mean,
yeah.
So
if he beats it up enough.
Yeah, and the interesting thing about when you lose your whole front bumper is usually it makes your car really, really tight, which possibly means everyone else is really loose and it's actually helping him. But I'm surprised he's able to run so far up. As you see this battle, this is the battle for the 8th position. Brad Cross in the number 30 machine. He's up near the front, but here comes to the inside Michael Krobach, and he is going to take that 8th position away, but open the door for Alex Geese in that number 77.
Boy, Krobach was the one that I want to say kind of was the cause a little bit of that last caution flag when he got into the outside wall, but he wasn't one of the bigger guys that wrecked. But he's still remaining in the top 10. That car's still run fairly decent out there in that 72 HPP simulation Chevrolet.
Yeah, a little bit of right side damage on that machine from when he clipped the wall, but I don't see any rear end damage. I think that team was able to do a great job repairing that machine to get him back on track. So you look up near the front, and Daniel Rogers has got a pretty nice lead, about a half a second over Jared Maugert, who has about a half second on the 94 of Corey Silva. But Corey has the number 18 of Mitch Brown knocking on his door, and Mitch is running a little bit higher, possibly trying to get some clean air on the nose. Like we said, aerodynamics are usually important, and the 98 trying to prove us wrong. As I think he's just trying to get some clean air on that nose, running maybe a little bit higher on the track. But
Man,
everyone seems to be back on the bottom again.
I know Krobach is a fast guy and all that, but I think he needs to go over, get on the radio to Sam Maxwell and say, hey, man, how the heck do you run so fast without a bumper? I'm just asking.
Yeah, I'm just scanning through the field. Jared Haggerty just clipped the wall in the middle of the corner, but everyone stays clean and green as he keeps that machine straight. There he is with a very damaged machine with also the number 22 just in front of him. And man, there's quite a few cars on track with damage, as we only have 22 cars on the lead lap. Will Worcester first one lap down 23rd. This is a great battle up near the front. Krobach still in 8th, but he's under file from Brad Cross.
29 cars are on the racetrack. Ty Hester being the last one with 3 laps down in 29th. Everybody else behind, such as Kaz Bedford, Troy Haight, Jordan Polly, Chris Forster, Jamie Vaughn. Actually, Jamie Vaughn's on track, 22 laps down, but Chris Titus and Steve Bahula have all brought it to the garage area trying to get it fixed.
Yeah, and man, Jordan Polly had such a great race going, and just such a shame to see him get into that accident. But I'm sure he'll be trying again next week at Kentucky. So there is a battle on track. That battle just outside the top 10. Alan Young and Tim Knott battling.
Yeah, these two cats have been kind of going back and forth just a little bit here, but this is outside the top 10, 11th and 12th respectively here. Not too much battling going on within the top 10, probably with the exception of Maxwell and Black going at it. Look at Black all over that back bumper of Sam Maxwell. Black's going to take it to the inside here. Black is one of the biggest movers of the race this evening after starting 33rd, trying to fight for 6th place.
I'm keeping an eye on Black's lap times. You know, here he has made the move on Sam Maxwell. That's going to move him up into 6th position. But I've been watching his lap times. His lap times are now comparable with the cars in front of him. In fact, all the cars in front of him are pretty much running a 5 or a 6. So it seems like Evan Black, he's just kind of dropped back a little bit, maybe saving those tires, trying to let this race come to him. He's still got plenty of time, 45 laps to go.
Krobach loose again. Boy, he fishtailed off turn 2, man.
Yeah, what a save. I mean, we've seen how difficult it is to make that save. It's caught out some of the best drivers in this field already, and he made a great save there as you look just a little bit. Oh, Brad Cross getting all squarely coming out of turn number 4 in that 30 machine. He's going to lose the position to Alex Geese in that 77, but Brad Cross, man, fantastic save, and maybe we're seeing that point in the run once again where these cars get a little bit loose on board with Brad.
Out for second.
What a save. Oh, look at him in the quad oval getting loose.
Oh, car on a wall. Mitch Brown into the outside wall. He was in 4th place.
Yeah, hit it pretty hard. Pancaked that right side, and it's going to bring Alexander Pelican right to his back bumper as we still have this battle for second. Corey Silva running that high line up there in turns number 1 and 2, trying to get that clean air on the nose.
Man, I would think, man, these guys are going to be losing the leaders, but the leader hasn't really pulled away. They pulled away from 4th place, though, as you see Mr. Sundrop, Alexander Pelican, trying to get by Mitch Brown in the back straightaway back there. But Silva, man's been all over that back bumper of Mogard, excuse me.
Yeah, again, everyone up near the front now starting to run the high line, which is kind of interesting because this battle for the 4th position with Mitch Brown, they're now trying to run the inside line. But I've noticed those front drivers are all starting to move up the track, so I'm wondering if they took note under that last green flag run when everyone started to get loose, because if you can run that higher line, you run a larger radius, and the car tends to get less loose. As you can see, to the inside comes Alexander Pelican. What a move over Mitch Brown. But here comes the crossover. Bring Mitch Brown. He says, I'm not done. He's going to bring that number 18 side by side with the 16 down the back stretch. And behind him is Evan Black, making his way forward in that 92.
These cats are pulling slide jobs on each other, man. This is getting crazy.
I remember I ran a super late model race here at Atlanta Motor Speedway, and after a while it gets like a dirt track. As you see Black running really high up on the track, trying to run in the shade up there. The track, ooh, as he now dives to the inside underneath Mitch Brown, and I think he's going to...
We might have a battle for the race lead before we know it, because they caught lap traffic. That was Jamie Vaughn. That was one of them. But the top 3 cars only separated by 0.5 of a second. 0.3 of a second.
Yeah, and Jared Mauger did take the lead. So using his lap traffic to his advantage, Jared Mauger now takes the lead of the number 00. And Danny Rogers has to try and get that spot back. But here you see some good racing there by Brighton Yazik to just kind of pull over and let this battle for the lead play out. As Danny Rogers, he's looking underneath Jared, just showing his nose down there. But I know Danny must be fuming. It's really hard to lose the race lead when you're in lap traffic.
Yeah, but I mean, you can't give up hope right now, but it looks like he's going to run the same line. Oh, lap car. Rogers in trouble.
Yeah, Christopher Lane just caught the wall, and Danny Rogers had to check up to try and avoid Chris Lane. And that brought Corey Silva to his door, as Silva's going to sail it off into turn number 3. That 94 trying to keep it down there on the bottom, and I think he's going to do so and move Corey Silva up into second, now plus 13 spots from his starting position.
Man, I mean, you can't tell a driver, oh, you got to get down, the car's in a wall. I mean, once the tires wear that much, and once you're entering the corner, you have to commit to that line. You can't just continuously move around, and realistically, the car ain't going to allow you to move around. So that was very unfortunate for Danny Rogers, but he still remains in 3rd place, only 0.5 of a second. Somebody wrecked on the back straightaway.
Yeah, that is Josh Walker in the number 58, who's gone around on the back stretch. You know, I noticed something else that last lap. It was the Sundrop car of Alexander Pelican got really loose in the quad oval, so definitely drivers starting to get loose. As you see, the number 58 just get off the corner.
Loose.
Yeah, he got off the corner, got a little bit loose, caught that outside wall, and it sent him spinning into the inside. But we stay green here at Atlanta Motor Speed. I was saying this earlier, Atlanta being one of the older iRacing tracks, it has some of their older caution loops, and that means we see fewer yellow flags.
Yeah, usually if folks, like right now, as the race leaders are going to be coming through turns 1 and 2, let's explain this right now to viewers who are not really familiar with iRacing. Coming to the back straightaway, if someone wrecked off of turn number 2, as we have seen here tonight, if a driver is wrecking below that white line on the right, below that white line on the apron of the racetrack and stays down there, the iRacing does not trigger the caution at all unless you get onto the racetrack.
Yeah, that's definitely something that you see less of in the newer iRacing track. Since Atlanta has been out for many, many years now, that's something that is kind of just their older iRacing tracks have. As we have a battle for the race lead, Corey Silva now has caught Jared Mauger, and in 4th position now, Evan Black is in 4th. So definitely things changing up near the front of this race as we have 34 laps to go. Time is running down. I'm wondering if these drivers are thinking about possibly pitting.
Silva got up to that back bumper. Yeah, I just wonder if they're going to be pitting here soon, because they're going to have to run a little over 30 laps here right now. And, oh, man, Silva got a little loose on entrance, but keeps that car nice and steady. He's into the wall.
Little bit of contact in turns number 1 and 2 with the outside wall. Corey Silva's going to relinquish that 2nd position to Danny Rogers. So now Rogers moves back into the 2nd position, and I'm sure he'll be setting his sights on Jared Mauger because he lost that lead getting around some lap traffic. And as the 94 is on pit road, here comes Corey Silva. We just talking about it. Oh, he gets in the grass a little bit there on pit road. Not sure if that's going to bring a black flag for an unsafe pit entry, but he was sideways getting onto pit road. That 94 now hitting his pit box. We'll see, I'm sure, 4 fresh tires, but this is definitely a strategy move by the 94 to try and get some track position. We'll have to see if these other leaders will do the same. But, you know, I think maybe Corey Silva said, I want to try something a little bit different here, as he is, you know, thinking about getting this race win. Mitch Brown on pit road now. Crowbrock in the 72. And also bring down Sam Maxwell.
Yeah, these leaders better hit pit road, because they're going to lose time to these cats that's pitting right now.
And you can see Mitch Brown and Sam Maxwell both overshooting their pit stall. We said this a little bit earlier. It's really easy to do when you're on old tires, but that's going to hurt. If this is the final battle for the race lead on your screen right there, Maggard and Danny Rogers. Rogers goes underneath Maggard. He's got some lap traffic in front of him. What's Rogers going to do? Who's he going to go with these two battling right in front of him? Sean Vaughn in the 22 is going to pull over, and just good racing there. Good courteous driving. Let this battle for the race lead go through, but make Danny Rogers your new race leader. A little bit of playing your lap traffic to your advantage. So now we've seen both Jared Maggard use lap traffic to his advantage and Danny Rogers they've swapped the lead now. But definitely it'll be interesting to see how these guys coming down pit road, how they're going to shake up in the final standings here. Dan Deffler in the 88 coming off pit. Action all over the track here.
Oh, yeah, Peter, you know it, man. I tell you what, a caution would be bad right now. Well, I mean, it's good for the leaders, but bad for if you pitted.
Yeah, you know, that's one of those things where if this plays out green, those fresh tires, we've already seen them have a really big advantage. Right now, Danny Rogers ran a 32.185 that last lap. That's about 2 seconds slower than their fastest lap that they've run so far in this race. So, you know, if I'm one of those guys coming down pit road, you have to make a call to yourself. Am I going to be able to make up enough time to make up the pit road delta on fresh tires to make it work? Because a caution could come out at any time and screw your race.
You're really going to have to make a pit stop here. I mean, I'm just kind of doing some calculations on the calculator at the moment, and I mean, we're coming down to it. Pretty soon we're going to have 25 laps to go, and these guys, such as Danny Rogers, has been out for 37 laps. So you add 25 onto that, I mean, you're really asking a lot, but these guys are already hitting pit road. The longer you're staying out there, the more you're losing time.
And here comes Jared Maggard on pit road. Joining him is Evan Black in the number 92. So just as you're saying it, you got to head down pit road. These cats are doing so. The 92, oh, Evan Black just overshot his pit stall just a little bit. We'll have to see what Maggard can do, but you can definitely tell that these drivers are under pressure and are pushing at Maggard, hitting his marks nice and neat there. And so now it's kind of all in the hands of Danny Rogers. When's he going to come down the pit?
Better do it now. Not this time, though. I mean, I'm just saying. I just feel like you're losing so much time.
Yeah, and I'm watching Danny Rogers. He looks a little bit loose through the quad oval even. So I'm thinking he's going to have to pit soon. He's going to be giving up tons of time. As you see, going around him to the outside is Corey Silva on fresh tires. On fresh tires in that number 94 car. So Corey Silva will get himself back on the lead lap, but he's on fresh tires. As we currently only have Danny Rogers on the lead lap as he stays out yet again in that number 02. So what is in Danny Rogers' mind right now?
Hoping for a caution because you're gonna have because if caution comes out and it's gonna be between you and Corey Silva, and you two are gonna come and catch tires. Everybody else is going to have to either catch a wave around. Actually, Jared Haggerty, he's in third. He would get the lucky dog, providing if he doesn't hit anything.
Well, you know, one thing to note is that with the cautions we've seen recently have had about 30 laps on their tires. Well, a lot of these guys now are on fresh tires. They will have grippy race cars, and they are less likely to spin. They're less likely to cause a caution. So now that it's pretty much almost played out completely, it's looking less and less likely we'll get a caution for Danny Rogers. Maybe he's thinking he can make it to the end here.
Maybe if he plays his cards right. I mean, I can't see it right now, but he's only run 32.5s last time by. Right now it's a 32.1 compared to Michael Krobach, who's running a 30.9.
Yeah, Corey Silva also running 30.9.
Clutching it on entrance.
So he thinks he can stretch it. That's an interesting gamble for that number 02. Because not only is he going to have to save, he's on older tires, and those cars behind him are all much
boy, he's really backed down the lap times. Watch this lap time when he comes across start-finish line, Peter. I bet you it's going to be, nope, 32.6. He's just really backed it off, though, it just sounds like.
32.6. That's about 1.6 seconds slower than Corey Silva. So 21 laps to go. I'm doing the math in my head, but
20 laps.
I think there's more than enough time for Corey Silva to make up that that difference if he can maintain that 1.6 second lap advantage. So definitely something to note. And one thing as the race leader, and you're seeing this now, one thing when you are on older tires that you have to deal with is all those faster cars on fresh tires all diving to the inside. As you see the number 66 at Edward Bray. We haven't talked about him tonight. That Harley Davidson number 6.
Oh man, behind the leader.
Everyone getting stacked up right behind Danny Rogers. And he really is going to start stacking people up. If a pack catches him with nowhere to go, they can really get hindered. But that's going to put more and more cars on the lead lap. Every car that passes Danny Rogers is pretty much going to put another person back on the lead lap. As we're now up to 4 cars. But only 19 laps to go. 23.8 seconds is the gap. Now actually underneath 23 seconds as you're getting that live timing on the top of the ticker. So things really winding down fast.
Yeah, this is a huge gamble call on Danny Rogers, but he's in the bed he's made right now. He's got to stick with this plan. He's got to run it to the finish here. Corey Silva's on the back straightaway. Rogers is actually through turns 1 and 2 at the moment. So pretty decent sized gap between the two drivers. I don't see Mount Mogard ever catching Silva or Krobach even catching him. So it's all down to Silva trying to catch Rogers in the closing stages of this race.
Yeah, I'm looking at lap after lap. I'm looking at this live telemetry. Corey Silva really eating into that race lead lap after lap. I think Rogers, you know, he's looking at his fuel numbers, trying to back calculate what kind of pace does he need to run here in these final laps. But yeah, definitely making it interesting. A fuel mileage race to start the season. I'm sure Danny Rogers, you know, he probably played a few things in his mind, trying to figure out what's the best option to go with here. But he's going to try something a little bit different. And of course, you know, if he does catch a yellow now, it's to his advantage because all the other guys have so many laps on their tires that they most likely will come down and take 4 fresh ones anyway. So, you know, we've kind of gone through a transitionary period where it looked like Danny Rogers could be, you know, well in the good to maybe once a few laps, once some people had unlapped themselves, it might be bad if Danny got a yellow. But now everyone would, I'm sure, come down and take 4 tires anyway.
Yeah, definitely for sure. This is a huge call if he's able to make it.
And, you know, that race lead now underneath 20 seconds. And I'm sure Corey Silva has his head down. He's ran a fantastic race in that number 94 machine. And he's got a really good gap over Jared Mogard. I'm looking at the lap times. Mogard is about a ½ second faster currently than Corey Silva. But, you know, Corey Silva, that last time by, ran a 31.534. You compare that to Danny Rogers' last lap time, and they're not that far off. So I'm wondering if, you know, the tires on Corey Silva are starting to even out with Danny Rogers' tires.
I don't think so. Silva's is just going to be so much quicker, regardless if his tires is wearing out or not.
Underneath 20 seconds, we only got 14 laps to go, and time is running out fast. It's a really good race. Great way to start off the season with all this green flag running. I mean, I love seeing a green flag run to the end here. It makes for some great racing, and it really makes for some enjoyable racing for all these drivers. I know all these drivers in it for the fun that comes along with the league racing, and there's no better way to be racing than having the green flag out.
Yeah, but if that caution comes out, though. Oh, Rogers loose off of turn 2. He's still loose.
Definitely having to deal with those old tires on that number 02. I'm looking a little bit further back in the pack. The Alexander Pelicans closing in on Mitch Brown. That'll be a battle for the 6th position. Not many other as we have a battle here for actually the 8th position. There's the number 98. Sam Maxwell still battling it out with that number 98 Ford Modified. And underneath him is Richard Stallings. We haven't really talked about Richard tonight, but Richard's made a great move. He started in the 21st positions, moved up to the 9th position, slowly but surely making progress through the field. And he's got about the same number of laps on his tires as Sam Maxwell, so you're not really seeing a tire advantage between those two. So that's a great battle for the 8th position. Great run for Richard Stallings.
Yeah, Stallings can go for more here on Maxwell, and it looks like he wants to. Just cannot get that run that he needs. Just behind these cats is the number 30 of Brad Cross, who's a first car 1 lap down. Then you got the race leader, Danny Rogers. Oh, now he's on the lead lap, excuse me.
Yeah, he just got himself around Danny Rogers, so Alex Geese will be the next man to get. Oh, and that number 77 really squarely coming out of turn number 4. I was just about to say, he's the next car to, or first car 1 lap down at this point, and he's not far. So we have a car in the wall. It's Richard Stallings who's hit the wall. You see him slow. They're coming out of turn number 2. We have no caution, but he had a little bit of right side damage on that machine. So once again, man, I just need to shut up. The commentator's curse striking again.
But I tell you what, Danny Rogers would love a caution. That way he can send everybody to pit road.
Yeah, Danny Rogers, he's got 10 laps to go now with a 15.9 second lead. Corey Silva definitely doesn't seem to be closing in as fast as he was not too long ago. So I think those tires have started to equalize between those two race leaders. It's pretty surprising, but Danny Rogers' lap times haven't fallen off considerably in the last 5 to 10 laps. And that number 02 machine is looking forward to possibly getting a race win, as we only have 9 laps to go.
Yeah, 8 laps remaining here at Atlanta, and what a whale of a race it's been all race long. I mean, a lot of back and forth, side-by-side racing, not just for the leaders, but mid-pack as well. Danny Rogers, unbelievable gamble he has taken here this evening, and he has stuck to his guns, and he is just waiting for this race to... Oh, he's out of fuel!
Oh, he's out of fuel! Just as we're saying that, Danny Rogers in the 02 has run that number 02 machine out of fuel, and we have 8 laps to go.
Oh, and Silva hit the wall off turn 2, but he still has it going.
My goodness, drama here, and possibly championship, well, not quite yet, but
yeah.
Had to throw championship
it's
out.
Still a start. It's still a start because Danny Rogers took the gamble at the start of the first race of the season, and he's going to lose several positions because 16 cars on the lead lap. It could have been a potential win for Danny Rogers, but unfortunately, he's going to have to settle for a dismal outside the top 10 finish. This hands over the lead to Corey Silva, who has a 7/10 of a race lead over Jared Mogard. Jared Mogard is there. Is there a tire advantage between the two drivers, though? If there is, it's going to be huge and setting up a huge finish to the race.
Yeah,
6 laps remaining at Atlanta.
Yeah, just about to say, Mogard has about a 6-lap fresher tire advantage over that number 94, and he is digging here. He goes diving to... Great battle coming out of turn number 2. Look at Mogard. He's all over the back of the 94.
He's all over that back bumper. He's looking towards the inside right now. Silva trying to find grip as much as he can, trying to hold out the 00 machine. The 00 machine is on rails right next to the white line on the inside, side by side, coming to the start-finish line. 5 laps remaining at Atlanta.
And Mogard led that last lap. So give that to the number 00 as he has taken the lead with a few lap fresher tires. I don't think there's any turning back. Give the race lead to Mogard. Had a great pit stop and has just done a fabulous job catching him. I wasn't so sure that 00 could catch the back end Corey Silva, but he's got his head down in that number 00 machine, 00 machine. Fantastic job.
Mogard's going to probably more than likely get this win here this evening because let's remind our viewers, there is no green-white checkers in iRacing whatsoever. So if we do have a caution flag right now, this would end the race. It is less than 5 laps to go. Mogard is pulling away from the number 94 of Silva. Silva still has a pretty decent-sized gap over the third-place competitor, Evan Black, after starting 33rd here today for Mr. Black.
Yeah, we have said Evan Black, he's kept that machine nice and clean and he's done a fantastic job just working his way forward, methodically keeping the tires underneath it. He's worked his way into a top 3 position. But Jared Mogard just has to keep hitting his marks, getting around some of this lap traffic, keeping nice, and he has this one in the bag. But
Man.
I've said that before and had the commentators curse, so I should probably stay quiet about Jared Mogard. If he's listening to this stream right now, I'm sure he's telling me to shut up as Danny Rogers is trying to unlap himself here. I'm sure he's kicking himself after running out of fuel in that number.
All right, I think I'm going to take this one right here on Peter, and no disregard to your awesome commentary on today's event for the ASRS League here, their first outing with 3-Wide TV. Jared Mogard down that back straightaway. He's going to have to come around and take the white flag. He is sailing away. He's practically can just take it nice and easy since he's around a lap car, which is Ty Hester. Coming off turn number 4, he is 1.5 miles away from a victory to start off the new season. White flag for Jared Mogard as he heads it down into turn number 1. What an unbelievable day. What some unbelievable racing we have seen from these cats. And these guys put on a whale of a show. I'm just curious what's going to be like next week at the Kentucky Speedway for that Sam Maxwell Customs Bluegrass 150 through turns 3 and 4. Mogard is going to capture the first win of the season for the Sim Marking Solutions Cup Series of 2019 at Atlanta.
Definitely showed a masterclass in patience and keeping that 00 clean throughout the race, minimizing those mistakes, and he gets to burn him down here on the front straight. Going to be awesome.
Tire wear won't matter anymore for Mogard. He can wear those tires out until they blow, which I don't think iRacing you can blow out tires. But nonetheless, Corey Silva, Evan Black, Alexander Pelican, and Michael Krobach rounding out the top 5. What a whale for Michael Krobach after hitting the wall earlier today. What a comeback for him. Man, what a whale of a race. And don't go away, folks, because we got Jared Mogard, Corey Silva, and Evan Black. We're at least planning on talking to those top 3 drivers here. See if we can get them in here as Mogard is still trying to pace. Looks like they're not ready for a chat yet. Silva is. We can probably talk to Silva. We able to get Silva in here?
I think we're looking for him. Not able to find him just yet.
He's way on the bottom
climb out.
screen.
We'll see if he can climb out of that machine. But here comes Jared Mogard going through the grass, burn him down.
Man, what a way to start off the new season here. I tell you what, for Jared Mogard.
Yeah,
but
definitely.
I do believe we got Corey Silva waiting here, so let's bring in Corey Silva. Corey Silva, you got a copy, buddy?
Yes, sir.
Corey, man, what a whale of a race for you. It was back and forth. You had some great racing with the leaders all race long, I should say, even within the top 10 drivers. After you started your day in 15th position, you had great racing with Danny Rogers, great racing with Jared. Take me through your race, man. I bet you it was a handful on them older tires.
Yeah, well, it started off really bad because I practiced so much hot lapping that I didn't know how to qualify, and I almost didn't qualify for the race. But yeah, we had long run speed, and I got up there, and I was battling with them, and I just never got the long enough run all the way to the end to take the lead back. But just 3 laps less, and that was mine.
Yeah, it definitely was. And let's talk about towards the end of the race there. You just stated that you were set up for the longer run, which is great, in my opinion, for race trim. And it was certainly utilized here today. But in them closing stages, it looked like there was a little bit of a tire advantage. Jared Mogard had fresher tires than you did. Was it just a little bit of a pit thing, or was your pit stops scheduled on time for today?
Well, the way it worked out, I just the strategies all got thrown off. So I actually hit the wall a little bit racing Danny and Jared, so I just drew first blood, and I knew drawing first blood I was going to be at the most of a disadvantage, so I had nothing to hold them off. But that was some of the best racing I've had on iRacing, so congrats to Jared. He earned it. He drove his butt off, so we'll go get him next week.
Two more questions for you before we let you go here, there, Corey. First off, number one, here at Atlanta, we didn't start off at Daytona like your normal, usually series start off in any typical league would be. Here you start off at Atlanta. How huge is it for you to come off with a second place here today to kick off the season without starting at a restrictor plate racetrack?
Yeah, it's good because you get to really find out who's your biggest competition this year. And I had some good racing with Brian Yazik, and Will was class of the field till his mistake. But we really learned a lot, and it's good to know because I didn't really have much confidence in the Cup car. I was more focused on the truck. So coming with a P2, almost a win, it's a good confidence builder for.
Okay, now we write off the Atlanta Motor Speedway. You got second place. It's a good points day for you, man. You led laps. You had a great day. Now let's focus ahead at the Kentucky Speedway. It's going to be a night race for the Sam Maxwell Customs Bluegrass 150. What is your mindset on keeping this momentum up into the next race at Kentucky?
Well, I'm going to be perfectly honest. I hate Kentucky, so we're going to be putting a lot of practice in. I've never been good there. I can't figure it out. So we're going to be doing a lot of practicing and try to have a similar result. At best, try to salvage a top.
Corey, thank you very much for coming to talk with us here this evening, live here on 3Y TV, and best of luck next week at Kentucky Speedway.
Thank you, sir.
Congratulations to Corey on getting that second place finish here this evening. Let's go down to Victory Lane where Peter Short has caught up with Jared.
Well, and joining us here on 3Y TV down in Victory Lane, joining me is Jared Mulgard. Jared, what an absolute awesome race. I think there was a lot of patience to be had there. What was going through your mind there with just about 20 laps to go? You were in catch-up mode. Now, of course, you had the O2 out front playing kind of the rabbit out front, but he ran out of fuel, and then you had to run down the 94 of Corey Silva. What was going through your mind, and take us through your race?
Yeah, you guys got a copy.
TFO?
Yeah, I don't know. We had a good race, and there at the end, I thought I gave it away. I was actually going to try and make it on fuel too, and my teammates talked me out of that at the last second, which ended up being a good decision. And then I still thought we gave it away to Corey because he had pitted like 5 laps or so before us, but we were able to run him down there, and got lucky that Dignity ran out of gas there toward the end and kind of, played into our hands there. So, got to thank my teammates for that one for talking me back into pitting.
Yeah, I've won the first season, a first race of the season myself in other leagues, and I know getting that first win underneath your belt is important. We have Kentucky next week, and lots of races after that in the season, but what does getting this first win of the season, what does it mean to you, and how does it change your outlook on the next few?
Just go there and try and win as many races as we can. Me, myself, that's what I do. I try to win every race. I mean, realistically, that's not possible, but I go in there with the mindset of anything less than a win is not good enough. And being back with this maxed out crew, it even amplifies that because we're not happy unless we're in victory lane. So feels pretty good. Kind of sets the tone for the year. And last year we were out to lunch a little bit in the Cup car, so it feels pretty good to come here and get the win to start the season off. I mean, got lucky with the fuel and stuff, but we ran top 3, top 5 the whole race, so it feels pretty good.
Yeah, you definitely kept that machine clean, unlike there's a lot of other people throughout the field who struggled, and that was definitely a good part of you getting tonight's win. Tanner, do you have any further questions for Jared?
Jared, what a whale of a race. First off, congratulations on getting the first win of the season. What is your mindset in these first few races? We did not start off at a restrictor plate racetrack. This is such great momentum for you. You got to feel really confident entering the next race, which is going to be Kentucky. And also after that, it's going to be Bristol. As a driver, how do you mentally prepare for those upcoming racetracks? Because you got Kentucky, Bristol, Pocono, and then we go to Daytona. Mentally, how do you prepare for those tracks?
I don't know. Just the same as any other race. Just knowing what track you're at and what you got to do with the Cup car or the truck or whatever we're in the next week. It's a Cup car next week, but just preparing for the track and knowing how to get around it and what you got to do to save tires and be consistent and stuff like that. Me personally, I'm fine with not starting at Daytona. I hate them plate tracks, so I am perfectly fine with starting anywhere but Daytona for the first 3, 4, 5 races or whatever. So, but no, it just sets the tone. We know that we're going to be competitive and have a shot at winning every race in the Cup car, which really wasn't the case last year. So, just it sets the tone, like you said, and we're feeling even more confident than we already were coming into this deal.
All right, Jared, thank you for taking the time to talk with us once again. Congratulations on the win, and keep it up, buddy. I'm sure you'll hunt for some more.
Yeah, thank you guys. Appreciate it. Gotta thank you guys for coming on board, Jim, and my sponsors, I Buy Power Computers, CDS Internet, Nick Coffman, Coffman Racing Graphics, Twitchy Race Reports, and as mentioned, Mexico Sim Racing Network. It's great to be back with them guys, and it's going to be awesome.
All right, there you have it. You've heard it from the race winner here tonight, Jared Mogard. Is that how you pronounce your last name, Jared?
Yes, sir.
Okay, just double checking it. That's how to pronounce your last name. But congratulations on the win, and now we move down to third place, which is Evan Black, who is by far probably the biggest mover of this race. Evan, do you have a copy?
Yeah, I got you guys.
Evan, what a whale of a race, but man, I tell you what, you may not have been up there leading the race, but you certainly showed your stuff out there and your muscle. First off, you showed it in practice by being the second fastest car on the speed charts. And secondly, you did not elect to take a qualifying time. May I ask how come?
Well, I did try to take a qualifying time, but I messed up both laps and ended up hitting the wall, so that kind of screwed me over where I had to start back in.
Yeah, 33rd you started. Sorry if I accidentally interrupted you there. But 33rd, yeah, you become the biggest mover of the race, man. Was there a lot of patience in the driver in your cockpit of that number 92 machine to try to get up towards the front and just be really patient throughout the entire race, even though you knew you had a fast car?
Yeah, I had to be patient the entire race. I was probably running 2 or 3 tenths slower than I really could have at the start of each run, just to try and save tires, because I knew if there was a long run, if I had fresher tires and saved them better than everyone else, I would be able to get up through the field. And starting back in 33rd, you have to be really patient and know it's a 130 lap race. You do not need to be in the top 5 within 5 laps. I didn't get into the top 5 until like lap 80 or something, so you just have to be really patient with that.
Patience pays off, people, and Evan Black demonstrated that here tonight. And Evan, talk about that final run there. We did not see a caution towards the end of the race, but we've seen some green flag pit stops. What was your mindset of those pit stops? If you timed it right, you could get a good finish. Was there anything you could have probably done differently and may have changed the outcome of that to try to go for that win?
Yeah, I think I slid through my pit stall just a little bit on that final stop, and I think if I didn't do that, I would have at least got by Corey. And I probably would have exited pit road on Mogard's bumper, so I don't really know if I would have had the speed to get by him. But I think when I pitted was fine, but just sliding through my stall really.
Oh man, but don't let that small mistake, lose your confidence from you, because you should have some great confidence. You built some great momentum here, and let's look ahead a little bit. Kentucky Speedway is next week. I know you're a fast guy, and you've proved that here tonight, and you're going to bring that speed to Kentucky. How do you feel about that racetrack, and do you think you can get it done into Victory Lane at Kentucky?
Kentucky, it's not one of my favorite tracks, but I think I will have some pretty good speed to probably run up in the top 5, and I don't know if I'll have that little bit more it's going to take to get the win, because there are a lot of fast guys in this league. So we're just going to go out there, try and do our best. And
all right, Evan. Well, thank you for taking your time to come talk with us here on 3Y TV. Congratulations on a top 3 podium finish here, and best of luck at Kentucky next week.
Thanks, guys.
That was Evan Black, who finishes in the 3rd position here, and I do believe that's it. So let's try to wrap her up. Peter, let's kind of go through the unofficial race results here at Atlanta. Jared Mogard captures victory. He will lead him off into Kentucky as the points leader. Corey Silva had a great run this evening as well. Majority of the time, average running position in the top 5 after starting 15th. Evan Black, biggest mover of the race, finishes in 3rd after starting 33rd. Alexander Pelican, the Sundrop machine, Sundrop guy, number 16, started 17th, finishes in 4th, so that's a good run for him. Michael Krobach, what a whale of a comeback. Remember, he hit the wall that sort of triggered a big accident in turns 1 and 2. He rebounds for a top 5 finish. Mitch Brown will finish in the 6th position. Brad Cross in 7th after starting 32nd. And just so you know, every driver within the top 10 I'm reading off has started 16th, 15th, nope, 13th or worse. In 8th place, it's Sam Maxwell after starting 24th. Tim Knott started 30th, finishes 9th. Richard Stallings, what a whale of a finish for him. That's a good run for Richard after a struggling day. We didn't talk about Richard too much. Like Peter said, he finishes 10th there, Peter.
And in 11th place is Jason Stewart, another driver who made his way through the field. He started 35th plus 24 for his finish. Alan Young finishes in the 12th position, followed by Jonathan Holstein in 3rd. Alex Geese made his finish, finally came home in 14th. Jim Foose, your league owner, finished 15th, one spot behind where he started. Danny Rogers, we saw him so close to victory, ran out of fuel, but finished down in 16th, the last car on the lead lap. Following him was Lee Staples, Edward Bray, Dan Deffler, and Jared Haggerty. Some of those more damaged cars a little bit further back.
Yeah, and these next upcoming drivers I'm about to read off are 2 laps down or more that were running with a damaged car or even brought it to the garage. Andy Veltman finishes 21st. Pole sitter Will Worsler finishes in the 22nd position. Clarence Bonner finishes 23rd. 24th, Sean Vaughn. 25th, Christopher Lane. Tyler Saville. Not Sawville, he finishes in 26th. Ty Hester had a whale of a run going within the top 10. Peter's talked about it here today, but unfortunately Ty Hester is going to have to finish 27th. Jamie Vaughn in 28th. Brian Yazik had a great run himself going in the top 10 and top 5, and also leading at one point. He'll have to settle with a 29th place finish. Josh Walker finishes 30th, Peter.
In 31st was Cab Bedford, 59 laps off the pace. He retired from this event. Troy Haight in 32nd. We saw him get involved in a big wreck, including Jordan Pauly. Chris Forster is finishing 34th. Chris Titus 35th. Steve Buhala 36th. Nick Coffman 37th. Kelsey Rogers 38th. Nick Curling 39th. Pete Baskins rounding out your field. I lied. Richard Fletcher rounds out your field in the 41st position. A couple of those guys back at the back did not start this race.
All right, before we go, we got some thank yous to give out. First and foremost, we got to thank Sim Marking Solutions for sponsoring the ASRS Cup Series as their marketing banner for the 2019 season. Also, we have to thank Sam Maxwell Customs for sponsoring the race here today. Driven Designs, iRacing, Twitchy Race Reports, iRacingiFlag, Kirkwood Transportation, Coffman Racing Graphics. Thank you all, you guys, for sponsoring the ASRS. As also, thanks to the team today, Peter and Carlos Acosta. Carlos did a whale of a job in the production truck here today, and hopefully you bring your fine magic next week at Kentucky. And speaking of Kentucky, please join us next week live on 3Y TV. The date is going to be January 15th for the Sam Maxwell Customs Bluegrass 150 for round 2 of the Sim Marketing Solutions Cup Series at the Kentucky Speedway. It's going to be a night race. It might be a day-to-night transition race too. Who knows? But it's 100 laps there at Kentucky. We wish you can join us next week. Same time, same place. All right, folks. Oh, we got to thank Sim TV for the cameras that were utilized here today. Thanks, Carlos, for bringing that up. Thank you very much for allowing us to use your camera system for the Atlanta Motor Speedway. And they were provide some great action out there as we've seen all race long. I'm Tanner Sharp, Peter Short, Carlos Acosta. We'll see you next week live on 3Y TV. Take care, everybody.